Welcome to Wes Young Writer, an audio blog by me, Wes Young. The same boring stuff you'd expect from a blog, offered here in the convenience of audio form. Find more at wesyoungwriter.com. Today's episode is entitled Expertise Part 1, Resistance, posted December 2025. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will serve before kings. He will not serve before obscure men. Proverbs 22:29. There are all sorts of trinket toys and fidget gizmos out there, but one that I came across as a kid took a bit of practice, and it provides the perfect illustration for a rather elusive point I hope to make in this first of 3 episodes on expertise. The toy, something about the size of a yo-yo, though it had no string, was a plastic cube with a free spinning ball at the center, a sort of sphere in a frame. The goal was to work the cube back and forth in such a way that by a strange phenomenon of the rhythm or timing of the thing, the ball would begin to spin, though the cube was moving back and forth. If you ever hit the timing right, the ball would spin round and round, faster and faster in one direction. Something like how the up and down on those Wild West Railroad hand cars made the wheels go round in one direction, or how the back and forth of hula hoop hips makes the hoop go in a circle. I don't know all the physics of this, but there it is. To try this strange new stringless yo-yo for the first time, one gets the feeling that it can't be done, that it's some sort of snipe hunt prank. But of course, the person who hands it to you can do it in haughty demonstration, so you keep trying. It's that moment when you first get it that interests me here, for it touches on a feeling, a sensation that I think unites all things, or nearly all things, that are skillfully done. When the rectangle hits the perfect rhythm on this toy, and when the ball begins to spin, there is a feeling of resistance. A comforting, reassuring resistance. A force of sorts pushing back against you, and by that very return pressure, steadying you like a high wire walker's balancing pole. You feel it, this strange resistance, the first time you get, say, a hula hoop to work, or a harmonica to bend, or a bicycle to stay up without training wheels. A water skier, after all the flailing first attempts with his skis slipping out from under him as if the water were ice, feels it that first beautiful time when the lake begins to push back and thus holds him up. You feel it in ping pong when the fumbling volleys blundered back and forth begin to register in some hypersensitive space of the nerves, so that the ball, which is really as light as air, begins to feel like a weighted thing when it strikes against the paddle, a thing pushing against you, and therefore a thing you can do something with. When a frisbee begins to feel heavy, right at the point of release, then you're getting the hang of frisbee. A piano player feels this holy resistance at some point when the keys begin to feel heavier, weighted, moldable like clay, rather than the feather-light triggers they felt in the beginning when the slightest touch or mistouch would clank out a wrong note. Now the keys are pushing back, and now you can lean into the song. Even, I think, for the truly great players, to the point of losing yourself gloriously in that lean, falling beyond the tipping point of mere mortals, getting in the zone, as they call it. It frequently happens in sports. Now, sports people have way more stories than I do on this, though I remember one unusual baseball season rec ball, roughly 8th grade or so, when I just couldn't seem to strike out. It was bizarre. I can still remember the image, like a snapshot of the baseball in the frozen moment of hitting the bat. And really, how long does that moment last? Less than the shutter snap on a camera, less than lightning. Yet it happened. And it held there in my mind and in that moment with enough time to see it and think about it and enjoy the hit. The ball pushed like a living muscle against the bat, and there, the sweet spot. I won the highest batting average trophy that year, one of the few real sports achievements in my whole unathletic life. The fact is, I don't know much about this expertise, resistance feeling in sports, nor, being honest, in piano or ping pong or really any other department, except I think maybe writing, which is just beginning to open its mind to me, to not be an evanescent mist that cannot prop up a thought, but to be a thing thick and separate from me, like clay, that I can dwell on without losing it, that I can hold and mold without my fingers clamping down on nothing. It has begun to take a sort of slowness that makes all things, or anything, possible. Like Neo the first time the bullets stopped for him in the Matrix, or like Sonic, who moved so fast that, relatively, Robotnik's missiles seemed to be standing still. I have felt this a bit in writing. I've felt it too in preaching, speaking, lecturing. Those early sermons, I was a sailor on a bolting horse, clinging on for dear life and wondering where this was going to take me. There were plenty of missteps, things said I didn't mean to say. Nowadays, when I preach, somehow the clock ticks slower. There's more time, so it feels, to pick the right word or phrase or point. I know the sensation would not register on any sort of timer. It's not like I'm literally speaking slower, but the resistance of expertise, or at least let's call it of experience, slows the thin air into thick water. And this brings us to our next, more complete episode.